Go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting? If there's no changes, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Paul moves, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nicole, is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is the bills. Is there any questions? If not, do I have a motion or changes? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Paul makes a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by John, is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is the delinquent bills. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the disconnect list.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jason. Is there any other discussion? Nicole?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. Everybody had a chance to look at the July financials?
Neither there, I didn't see anything.
You didn't see it?
I didn't see anything out of line on it.
I have a motion to accept the financials as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the financials as printed.
Paul makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by John. Is there any other discussion? Jason?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. Commissioners' reports. We'll start with Paul tonight.
Okay, on electrical, Roy is finishing up a couple projects that they got started. One project that they started that they're just gonna kind of close up and finish up on next year. I think they had talked to, I guess Tim is here, they talked to you about finishing that project next year, electrical, that's on your lot. Roy hasn't talked to you?
No one's talked to me since they put the wire in.
Okay, so he hasn't talked to you? Okay. So they're doing some more projects that they're finishing up. They're just about finished with the project out by the subway to help that with work with the looping electricity. And they're working also on, they had more electric come up and they're working at kind of getting a plan for, hopefully, the transformer out by Anchor as far as what the needs are on that. And he's also working on getting the supplies for the light poles, for the power on the light poles, to hopefully get all the Christmas decorations working. I believe they're done with the campground. And load controls, I talked to Abby today, she said that they're coming in slower now, so if you haven't had your load controls put in yet, please call the city office. They will maybe try calling some people, but if they can't get a hold of you, at some point there will be a $50 charge for those people that aren't being proactive to put their load controls in. So be proactive and call in and get that done, please. Because that will be a $50 charge once we shut that off. Once we've made an attempt to get everybody on a load control, then there'll be a charge put in then for those that don't want to do it or bucking it. So please call the city to get that taken care of. Beautification, I don't have anything new on that. So, but I will talk to Roy about, he was supposed to talk to you, so I'll follow up on that, okay? So he should come talk to you on what he plans on doing with that wire out there. So I'll be sure he gets over and talks to you. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Talk to me?
Yep.
No, they don't.
The wire
Can't
that
hear you, Paul.
oh, I'm sorry, the wire that they bored in
Yeah,
over there on the lot, they're gonna finish that up next year.
okay,
So he's supposed to talk to you as far as how they're gonna enclose that for the winter, so that it's not gonna be, don't have to worry about backing into it or anything with it. But I'll make sure he gets over and talks to you about that, okay? And I know they did find a problem over there, right, on one of the poles for you, so everything seemed like it's working okay now?
every time it rains, we still have problems with turning lights on and stuff, it seems
Okay.
like the current just isn't there.
Okay, so
When it's good and dry, everything works fine.
when Roy comes over, be sure to let him know that,
Yep.
okay? Please, so he can check into that, so. Okay, and that's, I guess, all I have.
Okay, John?
I talked to Jade, and he's talked to the to Oya and apparently the railroad is redoing the intersection out here at Caledonia. So they're trying to do both of those at the same time, but right now that plan is gonna happen right during beet harvest. So there will not be allowed any truck traffic through here, so we're gonna have to divert them south to Gravel Road and over to 200. But Jay was saying they're gonna need signs to help them indicate that there's a detour for that truck traffic. He was gonna try to get a hold of somebody at the railroad, see if they can try to push it up to try to avoid the beet harvest, because that's gonna be a kind of a major pickup for them, since they usually go through on Caledonia. But yeah, Jay was thinking they need, I don't know if he said specifically how many signs they would need, but you'd need something out by interstate at least for sure, and then showing the detour route. Then on top of that, Paul, he was mentioning out the Riverwalk, that sign out there, they were having some issues with the electrical on the Riverwalk signs, and then they want to check into doing, instead of doing mulch, seeding some of that area into grass, because it's growing a lot of weeds and whatnot up around that sign. He said it'd make it a lot easier for upkeep and mowing. And then I did talk to Bambi and MSU about the armory, so I got some of that on the agenda, but Bambi has indicated there's roof leaks in the kitchen and also in the vault in that southeast classroom. And there's several of the windows that are still leaking water and air due to the not having the proper flashing on it when they were installed originally. This plan is still to replace, redo the window in the Middle West classroom in October. And then she also indicated they're planning to move forward with the kitchen remodel, and there'd be replacing the flooring, the stainless steel cabinets, and would also be a possibility once they get all the funding complete. They're working on getting grants written for that. So once that's complete, January 15th at the latest, it would be a full commercial kitchen at that point. And I did talk to Jay about the weeds on the west side. Did they get over and get them fixed again? Yeah, and they wanted to, and that's part of the agenda here, looking at doing a little different setup on the lease. I won't get into that too much. I'll wait till that comes around. But they indicated to me, and I think also Jason, that they want to, their plan is to make a commitment to Hillsborough, so they want to stay here long term, and just want to make sure that they have that ability, if they're going to make all these improvements, that they're going to have a lease for them in the long term as well. So I just wanted to reiterate that I feel like they're presenting a plan that indicates they want to be here long term, so keep that in mind when we're going over that item in the agenda.
Okay, anything else, John?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Jason?
I have nothing.
Nicole?
Nothing from the airport, the water sewer side. Actually stopped by, talked to Steve Swanson at AU2S today about the annual utility rate survey. And we went through the book, and I know the last meeting Casey had touched on some of our deficits within our budget, and looking at the water rates. The residential seems to be that Hillsborough's pretty much in the middle, but on the commercial side it's on the lower end, so everyone's really charging a lot more than what we are. So looking for the budget, these rates, we probably are gonna have to look at the commercial water rates, and we might have to
beautification side, it sounds like trees should be getting taken out by cars sometime later this month or early next month. And they were able to give us a bid for stump removal that was cheaper or close to what we were gonna pay to rent one, so we're gonna go ahead and go with that to get the stumps removed. The planning and zoning held off, and so they had met today, just because there wasn't enough members to meet last Monday. So then there's a couple items, nothing that needs taking action. Just to be aware of it. The county is looking at adding a parking lot on the west side of their property between First and Caledonia. They came and asked to have another access point put into Caledonia, so coming off the parking lot, coming into Caledonia. Planning and zoning felt that that would not be a good idea to add another access point onto Caledonia. There's enough right in, because there's Second Street southwest, there's Second and a Half Street southwest right there in that same area. So they're asking to go back and rethink about that to maybe possibly come out on Second and a Half Street northwest. They're also asking or looking at possibility of adding a street light on the corner of First Avenue Northwest and Third Street Northwest for some lighting concerns that they had. And so nothing is concrete there. They're gonna go back and give some other options as well, but you guys can pass the maps around and see. And then they were presented with the Steenson subdivision as well. And so there's a lot of questions that they had, but they asked for us to move forward on the next steps of that. They said they would be favorable to moving forward of it. And so that would be, the next steps would to have JR and Steve work on the annexing and doing all that, if that was the case. So I did see they're here tonight. If you guys wanna, Brian, if you had anything you wanna talk about? I thought he was.
No, no.
Okay.
We can't hear you.
Not a word.
Well, they were out here earlier, but that would be the next step, is to look at starting the annexation process and making sure that we have water and sewer and stuff available for it, so. And this would be kitty corner from the north, or excuse me, southeast corner of town. It looks like it's going from Post Road all the way down to where Dickoffs have built their house. There's about 7 acres in the tract. Is that correct, JR? The next steps would be to get all the paperwork and hearings and all of that, so. We just need approval to vote, if you guys are okay with that, for JR to start working on that and Steve to start working on it.
So it's to do what, build something, or is it?
Annex it in to build a house on it.
Okay, and you said it was over by,
Yep, just north.
Okay.
That's just gonna be one house on that
The
lot?
way it looks on the lot right now, it's one. But I had heard possibly 3, but as of right now, it's 1 lot.
7 acres? Is that what it said?
7 acres, yep.
Okay.
if everybody's okay with that, I just need a motion to approve moving forward with that annexation procedure, or process and zoning.
Planning and zoning have the final say on that then?
No, you guys have the final say. So the process would be first, they would have their hearings, and then it would come here for the final approval.
I'll make the motion to proceed with the annexation process.
Is there a second? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Paul makes, seconds the motion. Is there any other discussion? Paul?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. The other item is they've been working still, they haven't come up with a solution on the campers or people living in campers, and so they're still working on that process. JR, do you have anything for tonight? Okay. Abby, do you have anything from auditor's office? Okay. Anything from the sheriff's office? Okay. We'll move on down to the supervisor, superintendent role for that position that we had talked about for Jay and Zach. You guys had some time to think about it. What are your thoughts on how we should move forward?
Well, I feel if we're not having any luck finding a superintendent, I think we need to move forward with this. I think we may still need to be looking for a superintendent down the road, or something on that lines, but I'm more than willing to give it a try for 6 months or so, and whatever you guys feel is a comfortable amount of time to give it a try to see how it works for you and for us. I don't know if you think 6 months would be adequate, or then come back and revisit it, or you wanna go longer, shorter?
That's what you guys want, are comfortable with.
Well, that's just my opinion. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think it gives you, because if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't lock you into a whole year, and, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but if it works great, well, then we can just review it again after 6 months. And if everybody's going good and it's working out, hey, let's give it a try. So,
How
I'm
long
willing to
have you
try.
guys been doing a lot of that supervisory work now?
It's gradually increased over the summer, it's been absent.
Started kind of in spring, we just kept running with it, picking up as we went. And then when you guys got serious, we kind of got on serious too ourselves.
My thought is, I think they're doing a good job. I haven't heard any complaints since they've been acting that way, and I honestly don't think we have the money in our budget to hire a superintendent.
I think if they have stepped up and split those, I have seen no issues and heard no issues about what they've been doing. If they've already been pretty much taking over the tasks, I would agree with Jason. I don't think we need to look for a superintendent at all. But I do think that they have been graciously been taking these tasks in. Personally, for myself, I can see giving them each an increase, taking out the public works supervisor position, relooking at the full-time public works that we had in here, maybe possibly putting that one aside, and potentially looking at taking the COLA out of our budget,
Taking what out?
the COLA. That would be a cost of living adjustment, because everyone's been getting these bumps up. we're running at deficits. But this would give an opportunity for each of them to all have increases. But this would also help kind of shave some of that off the surface. That's just my opinion.
You saying the raise is just for the supervisors or for the whole?
Well, the other ones have been bumped up, and
Okay.
these two have been splitting a position that haven't been bumped up.
Yeah, I was just making sure I heard you right.
Yep. But I'm open to your thoughts and opinions.
I mean, from what I've heard, which I'll say is pretty limited, but it sounds like, like you guys said, it's going well for people I've talked to, so, and, yeah, I mean, could be a lot for one person to oversee all three of those areas, so having kind of three different people take that role on, I think definitely helps delegate it. Obviously, it adds no workload to their day, but rather than having one person trying to handle the entire three sections, you know, obviously more than that, but gets to be a lot per person too as well. I guess I won't comment on the budget stuff just yet, but
Any other thoughts?
yeah, I would say like the first meeting in April, we readdress it. That'd be about 7 months.
So generally, Nicole, if we give a raise, we haven't in the past given, like, if they're on probation or if they've gotten another increase for it, or for a new position, we have not given the cost of living or that yearly added on.
Right. We just had the initials and then the bumps and then the percentage and then the COLA. And like it keeps going up and looking at our budget keeps shrinking. And so somewhere we're gonna have to seal on those gaps.
Which if we don't hire, like I said, there was an option that we could hire another public works. If we don't hire that, will save us some funds as well.
Well, and that's just it. It would be up to them to decipher, you know, is an extra one needed or not? Or is what they have right now in those positions enough? I don't know. But if they're taking on all of this extra work, I think it's due process that they also are kind of in the same level playing field when they're doing more work too.
Right. So they had requested 8. Was there, what they had come back with, is that something that you guys want? And if so, from what I'm hearing, you just need to make a motion to have a probationary of 6 or 7 months, if that's what you want to do, and then what the actual raise would be.
Does that sound something would be a preference? That way after 6 months you can say it isn't good, or I love it, and stay?
I don't have an issue with this. I don't see it being a problem.
So are you going 6 months from when they started essentially doing the job after Jim was gone? Or are you starting the 6 months from today?
My assumption was the 6 months starting from today. But
That would be my assumption as well.
Mine too.
Okay. Any other discussion, or do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to have them be in the supervisory position, 6 months, and then we'll relook at it again with the $8 raise.
I'll second that.
Moved by Paul, seconded by Nicole. Is there any other discussion? Jay or Zach, do you have anything that you want to?
What was that?
Do you have anything you want to add in?
I don't.
No, I'm
Okay.
good with that.
All right. Any other discussion?
Just curious, is that $8 start after the 6-month probationary period?
No, it would start
Oh, it
today.
starts, okay. I just was unclear, sorry.
So if in 6 months we decide that's not gonna work, what happens to the adult raise?
They wouldn't be in that position, so then,
Would be- Okay.
any other discussion? Jason?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes,
John?
Yes,
And a yes for me. Motion carries. Next item is the right property discussion.
I
John,
was just gonna say, what date would that 6 month be
it started in this pay period, so.
at? Yeah, so it'd be.
Today's
Today.
the first.
Yep. Okay, John? You have the rate discussion?
Oh, yeah, so. Yeah. So the first item would be that sidewalk and manhole, so Steve did say there were plenty of rings there that they could lower it, or it could be lowered. Obviously, that part of it is kind of in the, or I shouldn't say kind of, it is in the city right away from the plans that I saw. As far as, Tim wants to replace that concrete outside his shop, so if we need to get that sidewalks fixed so that he can use that entrance into the one overhead door, we kinda need to do that at the same time so that they can grade that concrete properly down there. Now, as far as how we wanna handle that, I guess as a city, we just give permission to that. And I guess, Tim, I don't know what your thoughts are on, you know, if you'd mentioned that concrete company thought they could fix that sidewalk.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You'd mentioned that concrete company you'd been talking to, they felt like they could fix the sidewalk if they were given the okay to fix it. Cause there are concrete spaces in there that can be
That
removed.
takes some rings out and lower that down.
Yeah,
We understand.
yeah, what did you say, a foot? It could be lowered almost?
I think
Okay.
Steve said there was 7 rings, 6 or
Yeah.
7 rings that could go down. I don't know
Yeah,
how big
so
they are.
I think it, somewhere in the vicinity of a foot that they could be lowered.
Pardon me?
That manhole could be lowered, the manhole lid could be lowered by a foot approximately. So that could definitely help, yeah, definitely help your,
Yeah,
curve
the engineer looked
situation.
at it and he took, you know, the slope and stuff, and it don't
Yeah.
meet the specs right now.
Right.
The way it's built.
Yeah, so then, that would affect the sidewalk, you know, north and south for a ways
But we'd
too.
have to blend that driveway into where that manhole is now,
Yeah,
where it gets a foot lower. It isn't going to do any good for me to put concrete in when that manhole sets this high up.
right,
You take your vehicle, drive through there, we wouldn't have much left underneath. You seen how high it was?
yeah, I did,
So it makes that south door of mine useless really for anything of any size.
right. So do you wanna come up with a plan on how that's graded and then we try to,
Do I want to let,
do you wanna come up with a plan and how you wanna grade it from your door down to the
I
sidewalk?
can talk to the man and see what he says, see what he comes up with.
Yeah,
The city should be responsible for that part of it.
for lowering that manhole.
Doing that kind of, that work there. But I already showed you, I got in that deal there, when I got to the concrete to do my concrete, but not to do anything with that manhole.
Yeah,
That's what I'm after. The city should be responsible for that manhole lowering and fixing that, paying for the concrete and the labor there.
can you split that out for us?
Pardon me?
Can he split that out for us on what our portion of the cost would be?
Yeah, I can see if you can break it apart, see what it gives you an estimate, yeah.
Yep. That's what I'd like to see,
Yep.
so.
so I believe it's doable, it's just, we need to work together and get it figured out with what you're planning for your slab and what we
Yep.
need to do with that sidewalk,
Probably make a sketch or something, nothing else.
yeah.
I think that's where we're at there, Tim. I think if he can get that for us, that's where we're at. So, I don't know, how long you think he would take him to get that for us?
For the manhole, you mean?
No, for him to get that estimate for that part, that portion.
Yeah, get an estimate for lowering that manhole.
Your cost. what it
Yeah,
costs you,
right.
Yeah, for the manhole. yeah.
Yep. So if he can get us a cost on that, on what it would be, so we
Yeah,
could
you
get
have to
that.
See how far he has to go back to the concrete,
Right.
please.
Yeah, just get what he, just have him bid it, so we know what our portion would be.
Yep,
Okay,
try and get him to do that.
okay?
Okay,
Is there anything else on that, Tim, or,
I'm gonna cement, no,
okay?
Okay.
not that I'm aware of, it's Mike Darren, so. You have anything, Mike
You know,
Darren?
we just gotta get that to the right grade, so it can be used. So
Would-
we'll have them figure out how much that's gonna cost.
Okay,
I guess the other thing is my driveway, I'd sure like that driveway back in my south lot that they took off when they did that street. They said they were gonna put every driveway back, but they did not. There's a little map there showing that driveway's gone in the back page of that one.
this one?
I can't see it from here, but it's the one with the, if you go to the very back page, I think that's where the drawing of the land is or something. of that one.
I did look at the plans, they did not show it on the new, when they redid it in 2008, they did not show that driveway on the
And I
plans.
don't know why they took it out, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's this one here, as you can see. It shows the driveway gone right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they took it out or why they omitted it. They put it in for all the vacant lots, but they didn't put it back in for mine.
and Steve never really answered that question, why they wanted to put one there if there was one there already.
And it wasn't really the city project, it was a DOT project.
Yeah, well, isn't the side of the road city though?
It wasn't, because it was all DOT. All that engineering, everything was done by DOT. The only thing that the city had in on the project was the sewer and the
Yeah.
storm sewer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know it wasn't on the DOT plans, I guess, when I reviewed it, that driveway was omitted.
Correct.
But I don't know if that would have been where they had their open meetings, if you'd have noticed on their plans that it was omitted, that they would have added it back in. But that would have been back in 2006, 2007. Did you catch that? So, like the DOT, when they redo something like this, they have their open meetings. That would have been the time to kind of look at the plans and see if they'd omitted something that you'd wanted.
Yeah,
And
they
to bring
talked
that-
about, they talked about having a blowback curb, so it wouldn't
Yeah.
have been an issue. But then when they poured everything, the day they did it, they said, this is what you get, take it or leave it. This is what happened.
Yeah,
In fact, that engineer that did that Olson, he said, make sure you get that in there because it'll make your lot worth more. And then when he turned around, when they were doing that curve, it was already gone through.
right,
Yeah. So,
okay. There seemed to be some miscommunication there between engineer and the contractor that ended up doing that.
so. I don't know who did it or why it was done, but it never got put back.
Yeah, I don't even remember who the contractor was.
I believe it was the one that did, the new development did, which was something Brothers.
Celine?
Celine Brothers, yep. Because I remember there was a lot of paperwork on that Celine was in court and a lot of different things. Okay, anything else on that? Okay. The other item?
What do we wanna do on that? We're not gonna do anything with it then, or?
If
Are we
you're gonna
check
get a
with
price
engineer?
for us, you can email that, city.
No, on the curb.
On the
On the
curb?
approach.
Oh, the approach?
I mean,
On the approach, what do you wanna do on that item? At this point,
Well, the guy
would he
that-
be allowed to
like
do it on
talking
his
to
own?
about my concrete, that's what he did all his life, was put in curb and gutter and stuff like that, so he's possible to get handle that too. If you want me to get a price from him.
I don't know, like, I guess I'm kinda up in the air on that item. I'm not really sure how that's handled. If the DOT did it,
You'd have to talk to the district engineer,
Okay.
which I have his contact, I can send it to you.
You said you had a contact there?
Mm-hmm.
You send that over to me, I'll try to get a hold of him. I'll talk to the district engineer at DOT and see what they say.
Okay.
Okay. The other item?
All right, so the other one, this is regarding I know this has probably been gone over quite a bit prior to my time as well, but the issue where the railroad believes that, at least from what Tim's telling me and from this information, that the railroad still believes that Tim is encroaching on their property. And I kind of went back and looked at last year's, the first one I saw, I think it was in April, but it was tabled, but in May, the beautification committee had a number of 2023-002 for right implement. And the item just said, need to know what was complained about. And then there's a 2023-003, said the railroad will be sending encroachment letter. And also a 2023-004, saying their railroad will be sending encroachment letters. Now, the following months, those numbers all disappeared. And then in October 2023-002 has an address of 218 2nd Street Southwest. So I'm not sure what happened there, why we have the same number for two different items. Especially when we're dealing with what would be legal action items, I guess you could say, eventually. We should be careful on how we number those items. But I guess the question is, did anybody ever notify the railroad that Wrights have all their equipment on their property, and the equipment that was there was somebody else and has now been cleaned up? Because my understanding, the railroad is saying that you guys can't move forward with any sort of purchase agreement until that stuff's taken care of, but
Well, if they
as
still
far as they
think
know
I'm
in their
approaching
mind,
it, I'd like
nothing's
to
been
get it
taken
cleared
care of.
up That I have, never have been, and
Yeah.
I'm not doing it now.
But they're saying there's something there because that's what their records are telling them. They didn't send somebody out here to even look at it.
Can we email D? Is that the one, this D?
He is the one, yeah, that keeps sending his email, like included in your last email.
So we could send
This spring.
we could send an email to her.
I have many of them.
No, I said we could. I don't know if it'll help, but we could send it.
Well, Levi, he did it to start with your beautification deal, and that's what started all this, saying I was encroaching on it. The pictures in here is one picture of mine where that combine is, and then the trailers, that was mine. But the other stuff is not. You knew there was Rob Ulrich stuff, because you've been here how many years? You knew it wasn't mine, but yet, I seen in the minutes of the beautification that you said you guys gonna get an encroachment letter and send this to the railroad. And Levi even admitted at one of your meetings that he did it. So it's up to you guys to straighten this out.
Tim, to clarify, the question that was originally sent to the railroad was, is there a lease? Or is there somebody that owns that property to yourself?
And that isn't the way she took it.
But that was the original email that was sent.
Maybe that was your intent, but if she didn't take it that way, and now we have this problem.
That's,
So now we have to cure this problem.
right. That's why I'm asking, who do we have to, because you've been corresponding with this D,
Yeah.
so
I
we
suppose
can
that's
put,
your first try.
Right,
See,
right, yep,
Unless you got
so-
better people.
yeah. Well, we can sure try that.
I think as a company, Mike and Darren and me and the wife and all of them over, need a written apology for what you guys put us through for the last year.
Levi, I
Because
saw
it's
that.
simple fact, just come and ask me where my property lines are. There's a map that the railroad sent me there, it shows what book it's filed in court, up here in the deal, and it shows the exact line, you can see the little red comment at the end on the south. You know, it wouldn't have been very hard, we could have kept all this in-house, and wouldn't have to go to the railroad and stuff like that. Making false statements to the railroad, I think there might be penalties for that too.
Levi, I understand what you're saying. I agree that the way your email was worded to them, that you were trying to get information, but the way the railroad took it and came back is that all of a sudden they felt like there was something going on that shouldn't have happened there. That's kind of what I got out of the emails.
There was also an email that I had sent to them that also said that I don't believe it's Tim Wright's property that is on there.
I'm just saying, I saw what you sent, and I'm hearing what Tim's saying, is somebody still at the railroad believes that there's an issue with the,
Yeah,
Who
with
were
that
those-
property.
who were those emails to, do you know?
Well, I think it was this string here that, there was a few more emails on this, wasn't there, Tim?
Pardon me?
This string that you sent the first couple emails, but there was like 4 or 5 more
Don't know where
emails.
it is, John.
There were 4 or 5 more emails on this string?
Oh, yeah, I got a lot of emails.
Yeah.
I got a folder that thick at the shop we've been going back for. So,
Yeah, so it was
I even
between
asked to
this,
share the email that you guys sent her, and she said she couldn't do that, so.
yeah. There's Dee and then Kathy, but Kathy was the one trying to
She's
handle
the
the
one in the
sale.
sales department, but
Yeah.
he is the one that's been with the encroachment part.
Yeah.
She even sent the Burlington cop down from Fargo. I got
Right.
his heart at the shop too, to inspect the property and check it all out.
Right.
So they took this seriously, what you guys did. And now I'm paying for it, because I gotta work with them. That road that goes back to their thing is not a public road, that's my private property. I let the railroad use it, going back to their people there. If you
You're
look at
talking
that
on the-
map, there's no road on that map at all. That's my personal road, goes to my, into the shop.
Are you
So you're
talking on
making it
this
very
west side,
difficult, me and the railroad.
on the west side of your building there, between the railroad and the
The one
building?
that comes in off the 200.
200. Oh, okay, gotcha.
You don't see it on that map, do you?
Is that the
No
one
road
that goes
whatsoever.
straight across First Avenue? Like going straight across from First
Right,
Avenue?
it's almost straight across from here. It says dead end on the post, that's my driveway, it comes in, it's supposed to go around. But the railroad's been using it, they filled in the stuff over the tracks so they could cross their tracks, going that way.
Do you have a copy of that email?
I believe I do, yeah. Want me to
Yeah,
pass it
I'd
on
like to
you?
see that, yeah.
Yeah, I'll pick that up. You guys want it?
Because you said, the way it was worded by you, it wasn't that we were pointing the finger at Tim.
The way I read it, it started out kind of like what Levi's saying, okay, is this your guys' property, is it leased, or who owns it, was the question. And then I think Levi had made the comment, well, there's items on there that needed to be removed. And I think in some of that confusion, all of a sudden those Wright Implements own that land. And I think that's kind of where, that's why I was looking back at these beautification minutes to see kind of how that progressed. I don't remember which meeting it was that you came to last year, Tim?
Pardon me?
Which meeting was it that you came to last year, that
I
beautification?
don't, city commissioner,
The city
I don't
commission?
remember.
Okay.
which one it was?
So I do have one of the emails, Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. Railroad says, we've talked to Tim, given us information about his property. I need to have him review. I'll be back in touch once they have a chance to review it. Levi says, I don't believe Tim is the one that has the machines on the BNSF property. It is another person. But this D person, whoever it is, are you still having issues with her?
Pardon me?
Are you still having issues with D?
Who?
The lady with the railroad?
Yeah, she sent me an email this spring when my son inquired about buying them lot. Yeah, saying that they're
Okay.
still encroaching.
Yeah,
Yes.
'cause
In
she
April.
says here, I'll be
Didn't
back
that
in touch.
folder I give you.
We should call her instead of.
So this
email.
hasn't been rectified at all.
Yeah.
else on this?
I think, like I
So
said,
we'll-
I think we better get a written apology from you guys too for starting all this mess. Beautification should check into things before they do it and see what the reoccurrence can happen or what can happen when you do it. Because it affects people's lives tremendously. I don't think you really care, do you, Levi? You aren't even listening.
I'm listening to you, Tim.
Very poor.
Is there anything else?
That's all I have.
So we're gonna, somebody's gonna reach out to Dee then, or what, who do we wanna?
I'll have
I
Casey.
can call her.
I'll have Casey, I think would be our best option.
Perfect. Because, yeah, you want to purchase this
Pardon me?
open land, right? You want to purchase the one that had,
I can't hear you. I'm
you
sorry.
want, you want to purchase the one that already had stuff on, right? This is the one? And that's what they're
Mine,
getting.
mine's all in that yellow
Yep,
that I own. There's my common line, that's my line.
Yep.
That one picture shows that's no, my equipment beyond.
yep,
But Corey inquired about these two.
okay.
There
And
used to
they
be old bulk
won't,
plants, one was a mobile and one was Skelly bulk plant.
okay.
They had tanks there years ago.
And they won't release it?
I don't know, we haven't heard no more from them, so.
Okay.
Corey's emailed a couple times and he hasn't said anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You made a note of that, Abby?
Okay, new business, we have the street closures for our saviors. They're asking for September 8th, which is their rally Sunday. And then they're also asking for September 11th from 3 to 9, which is a Wednesday. They're gonna have bouncy houses and stuff in there for the kids. And that would be on the street, which would be First, Second
First Street is 200.
Second Street Northeast.
And who does the, like, puts up the barriers and stuff? Are
They generally do, and then we put, the guys will give them signs generally to put out. They set them on the curb, and then when they're ready to close it, they just move it.
What are
Similar
the-
to what we do out here,
Did you give you an hours on September 8th?
till like 2 o'clock. I assume by the time they get things tore down.
So 4 days during the day?
Yes.
But the one is in the morning.
One's in the morning from, I assume they start about 8 o'clock
2 p.m.
till about 2 p.m.
I'll make a motion to approve the closures on September 8th and 11th. September 8th was from the morning until 2 p.m. and then on the 11th from 3 to 9. Both of those closures on Second Street Northeast.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved by Paul, seconded by John. Any other discussion? John?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carried. Next item is the Mayville State daycare discussions. The first item is the Armory event cleaning. John?
Yep. So I talked to Bambi and I forget what's the gal's name at NSU?
What was it?
What's the gal's name at MSU?
Jesse.
Jesse. So with the event stuff, we need to figure out a plan going forward of, having the building, I should say the gymnasium part and the entryway, somewhat would be our responsibility and not so much on them to clean it because they don't use that gym other than a few times in the winter time. So that gymnasium would have to be cleaned either by whoever's using it prior to that event, or it'd have to be, something the city, if we hire somebody to clean it, or something along that line. Otherwise, it starts looking poorly on the MSU development group that's, it's really not their duty to clean that. I believe even in the lease agreement, it kind of indicates that the city would be taking care of the cleaning for events. So I don't know if the current way we have the rental agreement set up really shows that, and whether, how we determine who's gonna determine and how we determine that it's been properly cleaned and prepped for events, and then who goes in after and cleans after the events. And also trying to restrict how much dirtiness happens, I guess, during the event, because it sounds like a few events it's been leaving a mess in the hallway. And MSU shows up on Monday morning at 6:30 and they have beer cans and everything scattered all over the hallway. Does not reflect very well to the parents that are bringing their toddlers and preschool kids to that location.
What do you propose we do?
I guess, to me, it seems like a cleaning crew would be a way to go and charge that to the rental fee, or as part of the rental fee. I don't know what the, going rates are on cleaning crews, but right now the rental fee is what, 300?
Does Alicia's Cleaning do anything at the Army right now?
No,
Would they be willing to do that?
I think she was the one that said it's just a gal and her younger age son, isn't it, that does that work?
We had inquired with them, and I didn't think.
I don't think they,
Yeah.
But
I-
just, I mean, I'm talking just before and after events, if need be.
I'm pretty sure if I remember right, we asked and they weren't interested.
we've asked a lot of people if they were to try to get it cleaned, and we haven't been able to find anybody.
Even some of those bigger outfits out of Fargo?
We sent out bids and asked, and most of them aren't willing to come up here, especially on a special event on a weekend.
Yeah.
I do know that the last, I'm sure some of you guys heard that after the last rental, that they said we're just forfeiting it. They forfeited the deposit and said, you guys can clean it.
That's where our concern came in, so it was forfeited, which
Thanks
is
for coming,
fine.
Kim.
But then nobody came to clean it, so when I showed up at 6:30 Monday morning, I had
Thanks,
Casey
Karen.
come over right away
Mike.
and take pictures of everything before I started cleaning. There were beer cans and liquor cups outside. The hallways were full of spilt beverages with dirt on top of them. The bathroom had feminine products all over the floor. The entryway carpet had to be shampooed because there was so much liquor spilt in it. It smelled like a brewery. So I had to spend the first 3 hours of my day explaining to parents why the building smelled like liquor and was very dirty when somebody else was supposed to be responsible for cleaning it. So I did all of the cleaning except for the gym. So I'm the one that cleaned all the bathrooms, all the hallways. The kitchen was in terrible. I shampooed the carpets. I went outside and cleaned up the cigarette butts and the alcohol cups. So that's where if they forfeit it, then there needs to be a plan for somebody to come in and clean when they do forfeit it.
Even when it's not forfeited, is it still dirty?
No, when they've come in independently.
I think part of it is we probably need to up the deposit to help with that, deter them. Because it's a
Yes.
$300 rental plus a $300 deposit.
The concern I have though is if you still even up it, you know, and they're like just forfeit it, then Bambi's still stuck cleaning it.
Right.
But at least we can, $300 is not gonna get a company to come in on the dime. So we'd have to find a company that we're gonna pay dearly for to come in at will and get it clean.
Bambi, you're usually typically the one that does the cleaning of, after all these events, right?
No, this is the first time where it's never been cleaned. Every person that's rented, I mean, they'll, maybe a thing here or there, we gotta just quick mop, 5 minutes. This was the first time where
But you've had to do excessive.
I spent, when I say I'm not exaggerating, I spent 3 hours doing nothing but cleaning the building to get it back to the way we left it on Friday.
In which we didn't, my understanding is you guys didn't find out till Friday that they were,
Right, they called in because we had already switched to our summer hours, so they called at like 11:45 and said you can keep our deposit, we're not cleaning after the event. And we say to that. Get that phone call.
Yeah, and that'd be, where it'd be more prudent, like if somehow or another we found a company that would agree to, you know, we usually know about these events fairly well ahead of time, right? I mean, it's not usually they're coming in week before,
Correct.
but again, it's probably, well, how much can we pay somebody to do that?
But that's what the deposit would be for, is that,
Right,
so what are you guys willing to up the deposit to so that it's covered
if they forfeit it.
if they forfeit it, or if it's not clean to expectations, which then we need somebody to check it after the event to make sure that we're calling right away to get it clean.
And whose responsibility is for checking it on Sunday?
That's,
Footings and ground portfolio.
or we could,
The only other problem there is if nobody's putting in bids to clean it, and you up it, and they still forfeit it or whatever, it's still gonna fall on somebody, and I don't know if people aren't putting bids in, if anyone's gonna come clean it willingly too, like about the service, you know what I mean? Like if they don't want the contract at all, are they gonna come out one time and clean?
right, that's the other, you know, the only thing we could, and I'm not saying that I want to add it on to the public works guys, but we do have them come in on Sundays and Saturdays. That could be, if we know there's an event, they could check on it when they're making their rounds, because we have that one person that's on. Not saying that that's our best option either, but otherwise we gotta find somebody else to.
Have you ever thought about hiring a janitor again down there?
You looking?
Where do you pay?
We would never have light bulbs on anymore, Jason. He always kept the light
Jason's looking
bulbs
for
changed.
volunteers.
He always changed the light bulbs working.
Well, maybe we do need Ray.
Well, after you left, Ray, nobody else wanted to take the job, or we had the one, and then after he left, we didn't have anybody after that.
He was really good too. He always had candy for the kids. Tom, he'd bring little
Tom
candies
from
to him all the
Shelley, yep.
time. He was great.
Are you looking for a job, Ray?
Well, how much you willing to pay? I mean,
What are you asking?
Just say yes. Not
Yes.
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 We've got good coffee.
Oh,
We'll give you all the coffee and Diet Coke you need.
You be careful there, he drinks a lot of coke.
He does. He drinks a lot of coffee.
more than
He drinks
$25
lots of coffee
an
when you
hour?
work there. Something else I want to bring up too is the before the event thing. We've had 2 events now that have both complained about the way the gym looked and then complained to me that I didn't clean it, but I wasn't the one responsible for cleaning it. We don't use the gym in the summer, and one was softball just took their stuff out, so the mess was still there from them. But this last one, they were upset at me because they had to mop part of the gym. And I said, that gym hasn't been used since the last wedding, and they were upset because they were like, well, that's a month ago, you should have cleaned it by now. We're not cleaning the gym when we're not using the gym. We mop the hallways every day, we clean the entryways every day, but we don't clean the gym when we're not using it. It's different in the winter time. We will clean the gym because we do use the gym quite a bit in the winter when the kids can't go outside. So we will then, but like this whole summer, we've maybe been in there a couple times just to let them run, but we don't use it in the summer, so we shouldn't be responsible to have to mop it. And I mean, yeah, there's gonna be dust bunnies and that in there, because if it's not used, there's no motion to blow the stuff around, but I don't want our program getting a bad rep that we're not taking care of what we're using, because we are, it's just we're not using the gym.
Or there's another option that we could do, is just not rent out the armory anymore.
And I'm not advocating that either.
JR's thinking,
well, that's just.
where are we gonna have our,
You just have to raise the deposit enough that it's cost prohibitive that they're gonna do it.
right,
It's a penalty if you don't do it, $300, and I'm reading the agreement, I wish we had like slightly different languages. They used us. They didn't clean because they thought only cost $300, so be it. No, you were actually legally required to clean it. If we hired someone to do it, we'd charge you for it. So if I know what that dollar amount is, would say if the deposit's $1,000, I'll be scrubbing, I'd clean it. I mean, they wouldn't leave it that way, it would make it cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
That's my charge so much, the days you have so much money in the line,
But you wouldn't
and you
want
have
to.
risk, it's like an apartment lease, I got a security deposit. I'm shampooing carpets, I'm cleaning shelves, I'm moving out the fridge for the first time in my life to clean the hardware.
So you're also saying that we need to change the agreement?
I would update the lease, I'd change it so it would be a higher deposit, I'm just giving them a punch list of, did you sweep the floors, did you mop this, did you remove all beer cans from the garbages, did you remove all beer cans from the Oshkosh, whatever.
There isn't one for there?
That was a punch list.
I thought we were coming up with one. It was
I
over
thought
here.
there was. That
Isn't
was
there
for
But
here.
we talked about, that we should do one from there.
Got it.
That one doesn't get rented as much, so then it's not as,
Way less beer in this one too, so. That's my thought, I don't know.
Yeah, and
I was-
there should be a rule in there too, that like the alcohol shouldn't go out in the hallway, front entry.
People going to the bathrooms and stuff.
Bathrooms.
You're not gonna
Really
enforce
bad.
It happens, it gets hot in there, people walk outside with their beer to cool off, I mean, it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't really stop that, I mean, unless you're gonna have
Well,
people
they're supposed to have
posted
security
at,
there, right?
they have,
Identity to the
they
door.
have
have
better
their,
things to do
they're
than watch the
required to have
bathroom.
one, right?
Yeah, they're only required to have the one.
Yeah.
I don't have.
But I think it's
Yeah, they only have
prudent
one.
to have it
One's
in
one
there that
person.
the
Yeah,
alcohol
but I
should
mean,
not
if there's somebody there
be
watching security.
filled in there, because
right,
then that
keep-
gives us
keep
the
your
opportunity, hey,
alcohol
this
there,
is an
not
item
out
you didn't
here.
follow.
Yeah.
I'd have it as a
But
punch
they
list
can't
item
be
to
up
keep
to
the
the
bathroom
hours at
garbage
one
to
time.
dispose of.
I
You know.
fully
Yeah.
understand.
Other than that, after the HB events or other things we want to.
Mhm.
Kids find these things.
That's right.
if you find anything.
Well, can we put out something for bids that we're looking for somebody to,
We can still do
to,
that
to
too.
inspect, so I guess the biggest thing is who's gonna check it before, and then who would be available if needed afterward.
Bambi, would you be willing to check it before, so that you're saying
I-
yes? Would you be willing to check before the event, saying that it is cleaned and ready for the renters?
Yeah,
So there's our check before.
I'll let you know on Monday.
So we gotta know on Friday if it's ready.
Yeah,
But I just say if we learn on Monday, then if it's high enough, I really just think that, this hasn't happened before, has it? I mean,
I just-
not
this
to this
is-
extent, I guess.
No, and this year, there's been more events in that building this year than there has probably in the last 5 years. So, I know that's why it's really never been a topic of conversation, and it probably wouldn't have been, except we've never had somebody blatantly just say, keep my deposit.
Right.
Right.
So
How
that's why it's kind of like, okay, maybe we need to come up with a plan B, so,
Did they say that before the event or after?
So Friday before
Before.
Saturday.
Friday, and they started setting up on Wednesday.
Yeah, there was a lot of Friday weddings this year.
yes.
A lot more than I've ever seen.
Maybe that deposit should go to Babby since she had to do all the darn cleaning.
Well, no, because the city ladies had to do the gym part, theirs was more work than mine.
Oh.
They had to put all the
3 hours
chairs,
of 2 people
tables.
mopping and sweeping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they came in and did the gym, and that was really
Have you ever
bad.
thought about hiring somebody to clean it again? Somebody local?
Just say I'll come.
Just say how much you want, Ray.
How much do you want?
I don't know, but it's a thought. I mean, when I went down there before, I was in there every day sweeping and cleaning the bathrooms. And on the events, before the event would start, we'd go and take the table and chairs out, set them in there. When they got done, set them up, we put the carts back in the other room. And then on Sunday, we'd go in there and wash all the tables off, and chairs if needed, and
So does Ray want to be the person that does all of this?
I'm thinking about it, I really am, yeah.
How much do you need per hour?
$5 You're retired now.
Federally, we have to pay minimum
Just
wage.
not, just saying.
No, I'm not saying yes.
I'm not as mean as Bambi, I'll go 10 easy.
Okay, see,
So you can deal with her or us.
I give you free coffee and tea. You get my visitation.
Ray, I would say table it till you can talk around and see how much cleaning people are getting per hour now.
I'll do that, yeah.
$20 per hour.
I mean, and
No,
I'm
we
willing
need to know
go down-
tonight, Ray.
And I'm willing to go down there if it comes to this, to go down there every day.
Oh, we don't need every day, just in events.
Oh, you don't need,
Once a week,
If you wanna
probably, and every,
volunteer, but we don't need you every day.
That's gonna be that's gonna be the difference from what you did before, Ray, is this is just after events.
and maybe once a week,
for maintenance?
once a
If-
week
if-
for me.
If bad
If that.
feels it's necessary, so.
I'll do some checking around and I'll get back to you.
I can tell you that the school just hired at 30, or I think it was 30 for the newest, and that's the full-time, and I think 18 or 20 was the other ones.
And that's up to $30 to $40 an hour
How about 30?
for a house cleaning.
Do I have a motion for 30 to hire Ray?
I think we should look,
recoup the
I
money
think we should
because
look at
the
our options
deposit
and
would
bump
cover
the,
it.
bump the deposit.
Okay. Well, we could make a motion on the deposit, so that, do we have any rentals coming up?
Yes,
September.
we have 2 weeks, we do.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 weddings.
2 in September.
And after that, I don't believe,
November, no, December.
I don't have it looked that far in the calendar yet.
Well, we can also leave, we can leave it, so anything that's already been put in is that we stick with what it was.
I just worried about if we have any coming in.
I have a feeling that the ones that are booked now won't let $300.
Would 1,500 or 2,000 make a deterrence enough?
But then you're not gonna have people renting them. so-
Not for rental, just the deposit.
We hold the check in the office until the event is done for
I
the
would have bought
deposit.
for 1,000, but I'm cheap, so. I bought for 300 actually, so I don't mind cleaning, but it's whatever you guys want. Whatever
I'm
you
just
think
thinking that
would be-
it's probably gonna cost 1,000 to get if we had to hire a crew to come in, it's gonna cost 1,000 to get them to come up here and do it.
I don't think it'll cost $1,000. $400 or $500.
And all the other time and
If I'm
everything.
cheap like him, I think $1,000.
Well, how many hours did you guys say it took us last time? 3 hours of Vanity, 6 hours of you guys?
That's 9.
So, I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be prohibitive. We don't want to do that as thing.
Right.
Right.
So,
1,000, 1,500, I don't care. I think that needs to be, we need to get that changed and get the contract reworded as soon as we can.
I'm working on it right now.
All right, we don't have to double pay you.
He's over here clicking.
Something else I would suggest is getting a fire marshal in there to give you a capacity, because you hit close to 500 people in there at an event not too long ago. And I really don't think 500 people were ever supposed to be in that building. It wasn't quite 500, but it was more than 450.
I had 500 at my wedding dance.
In Harvard?
Yes.
You weren't supposed to have that.
I know. There was just as many people outside as inside.
Wow.
But
That was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Jay might be able to do the person for square.
25 days ago?
There's
Yeah.
exits, so
yeah, because in that one of the weddings, they had one of the
does it
doors.
have a fire suppression system up there?
Nope. That is grandfathered in until you make some major updates, then you automatically
Then you have to
have
put
to.
it in.
Yeah, but, cause like they had exits blocked with
One
tables
person per 5 foot,
and.
or one person per. How many square feet is it?
I could count the blocks and tell you.
Full-size basketball court.
If it's on, this is just general, but the National Fire Code is 10,000 square feet. Should not exceed 1 per 5 square feet, and then if it's over 10,000, it's 1 per 7 square feet. So. Well, do I have a motion?
We can't just bid it out? Put it in the newspaper and see
We
what we
could-
get for responses?
We
Tell them we're
could-
looking for somebody to clean after after events in the Armory and.
I do know of 3 or 4 companies in town here, and I'm kind
I
of
know
curious
there's one more
if they
coming
even
in.
know
Mhm.
I know
about
2 of them.
this need.
Yeah.
But
So-
Yes.
it's not a guarantee, that's where, are we gonna guarantee, you almost, if we're gonna have somebody go in after every event and clean it, then we're gonna have to up the rent. But you're also gonna, because then they're gonna want a guarantee to come in, but if it's it's not adequate, then you're gonna have to pay.
But it's gonna be, but I look at it more so it's gonna be, that's what they're bidding. They're bidding, if we need somebody to clean the armory, that's what they're bidding. It's gonna be well worth their time, obviously, especially if you're gonna have to pay them $30 an hour or whatever it might be. You know, there's a lot of people out there that might, you know, 2, 3, 4 times a year that'd be more than willing to clean the armory for $500 or whatever it ends up being.
But we may have to pay them just to go check on it and say, so that it's clean by
Right,
Monday
right.
morning.
Yeah, so.
Maybe JR and I can work on a bid for the next meeting to come up with then, of what we should maybe look at.
Mhm.
Anything else on the cleaning then? If not, then on the long-term lease agreement, which currently we have 3, and I think we're up
2026.
26, yes.
What are they asking from us, or what do they want?
So
Because we're good to 26, so what do you?
we are going to be remodeling the kitchen, so we're looking at putting around $55,000 into the kitchen. Also bringing in a new, all-inclusive playground that's open to the public to use, so we're looking at a couple $100,000 on that. And what we're looking for is maybe something longer than just the 3 years to show that, you know, we'll have a place in 10 years, because the unknown makes it a little nervous to put that kind of money into, like, the kitchen, if we were not really guaranteed that we could be there in 26, because we can't really take the kitchen with us.
How about,
You know,
would you be willing to buy it for $1?
No.
Fortunately, we can't own property.
Mhm.
Yeah, we would love that, but we can't own property, so.
Okay.
I have asked many times. So what Jesse's thoughts were is, even if you would consider a 15-year lease with the 5-year discussions on rent, like it is now, is every 5 years have that discussion on the rent, and if you feel an increase or whatever, but have a long-term lease that says, yes, for at least the next 15 to 20 years, we will, as long as we own the building, let you stay.
JR, can a contract be indefinite in the fact if it says that as long as they're operating as a child care center, that they would have the agreement indefinitely with,
We can give it
Yeah,
our right.
just have an out clause.
with an
Yeah,
out
just
clause
Have an out clause.
plus a, every 5 years renegotiate on cost of rental.
Yeah, we can do that. We go up to 99 years actually for a lease, but we can give them a first right to rent or whatever we want to do. It's pretty open.
is that something the city can afford to do, is keep it at a maintained pace for 5 years at a time? The building's pretty old, so deferred maintenance to me is an issue.
I can tell you that what they're paying is not what it cost us, and it has been more than that for a long time. It is a subsidy that the city residents are covering for childcare. Maybe not everybody's childcare, but they are subsidizing for childcare in Hillsborough.
Yeah, because I don't want them to go, but I don't want something to hit an issue with it costing so much that we're stuck.
Generally, it costs us $50,000 to $75,000 a year to run that building. We take in
14 though.
14,000.
Although with the new kitchen upgrades, you can rent the kitchen out to caterers now.
We'll have to remember that too, when we put it in, that if you're gonna rent the kitchen, then it costs more.
No, you guys can rent the kitchen and make more money.
Well, that's what I mean, when we have the new lease, we'd have to rent, the kitchen would cost more to rent the kitchen.
So there's another stream of income.
And then you get to scrub burners and stuff.
Right.
We need a lot more than that stream of income to make $70,000.
It's 50 to 70,000, that's like electricity, water.
That's a guess on
Snow
electricity,
removal.
snow removal, because we don't have we have the meters on there, they're not always counted, and so.
Right.
That was and some years we put air conditioning in, that it cost us $70,000 or $40,000, and we've had, windows to replace, and so it's just a guess.
Yeah.
But what I've seen in our budgets from previous, it's been anywhere in between there. Generally, we have to put 30 to 40,000 a year in to make it fly, so.
On some of the maintenance issues that I mentioned as well, obviously as a city, we're supposed to take care of maintenance on that building. So, at the same time, if we keep fixing those, I know we're fixing some of them, the windows and flashing part of it, but, yeah, I mean, like, long term, has anybody come up with a plan that, are we keeping that building, or?
I tried to give it to them for $1, but they didn't want it. I mean, ultimately, what else?
What else can be used there?
What else? I mean, my understanding is the city got the building, they rented it out for a while to a business, and then that got turned back over to the city. Long enough ago, because Kathy said that's where the steps for the pool were made, is at the Armory, so,
We've been there close to 30 years.
yep. And so that was before then, so that tells you how old our pool steps are now.
Wow. Yeah.
They were made in '93, that's when that business was there,
Yeah,
the year I graduated.
Which steps are those?
the current steps. The plastic ones go,
Okay.
yeah.
Those are 30 years old, huh?
We just got them.
I saw the bill for them.
Yeah, they weren't cheap. It's all PVC.
Did your husband ever look at that roof leak to see if it was a roof thing or if it was?
Yeah, I emailed you about that.
I don't think I ever got it.
Are you sure? Sometimes it takes you a while to read them.
No, I'm pretty sure I didn't get that one.
Yeah, he said he went up there. There were a few cracks and things above the new ones that probably needed to be tarred. He was gonna do it when he did the windows, or replace the window, because he'll have to tar up there anyway, so he said he'll lay it up and tar.
Oh, perfect.
Bad
Something I
chemicals.
don't know, Levi, if you're aware of, when those windows were put in, I told Mike right away that they weren't put in right and that he needed to get a hold of the people and get them warranted. And he never, contacted them to do it. So a lot of the problems that you have with the water leaking is because the windows were never put in correctly to start with. And then Mike never followed up with it. Because there's some windows you can't lock them because the windows aren't square.
We can look at the same grant that we did for the lights in the gym. We could possibly look at that. There's some efficiency upgrades we could look at for the windows. Because maybe the option is that we just need to replace the windows, because it's been 10, 15 years.
No, it hasn't been that. The windows itself are good, they just weren't installed right.
Yeah. They're fairly new windows.
They're fairly new windows.
Okay.
I would say they were only put in 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
I thought they were longer than that.
No, they're fairly new, it's just they weren't square when they got put in, so there were gaps. They didn't put the proper flashing around the outside to keep the water from draining in.
Right, but if you're going to replace them, or if you were gonna fix them, if they weren't put in square,
Well, yes, I get it.
then the window's not gonna, since it's been
Probably
sitting for that
lost
long,
its-
now it's lost, it's not gonna be square. So now you're just gonna have to replace them to get them where they should be. And fix the flashing and do all that.
You know, get an energy audit done on it and do the grant through.
Right, and that would be the option. I'll work with John on that and see. Because we had talked about doing, before this, we talked about putting AC in the gym, which would make it more attractive for rental, and fix the heat in there, because there was an energy grant, the same thing with the lights that we could have used.
Yeah, baby, I just looked, I never got an email from
I
you.
could have sworn I emailed you. Maybe
Yeah,
I
no, the
didn't.
last one I have from you is after you got the vacuum And then I asked about whether, if the
That's
ten
much
cents would be
appreciated.
paid.
Thanks, Abby. It works well.
Yeah, I was like,
There's Peter
I
in
didn't see that either.
the southeast corner, Bambi said it just turned on that one day, and they couldn't figure out how to turn it off until they found the breaker, which was all the way on the other side of the building.
So we should talk,
Oh, he left. Zach was the one that got to go on the hunt. It took them like an hour to figure out where the breaker was to turn the heater off.
what, do you wanna, I'm guessing to reach out to Miller's and see if they'll be willing to
Reach
look
out
at
to who?
Gannett Miller and see if he'd be willing to look at it. Or that company that Paul's using. So we'll get back on task. Do I have a motion for a long-term lease agreement where it would be indefinite based on if they're providing childcare with an outage? Is that what you would like JR to draft with a renegotiation of rental every 3 years, 5 years, however you want to do that?
I wouldn't go more than 3 years.
Okay,
For 3 years.
do you have a motion to do that then?
What was it, Paul?
Well, instead of reviewing it every 5 years, do 3. 3 years instead of 5.
Our current is 5, isn't it?
3.
No.
3.
3. Okay.
So you, the only thing you would be negotiating is just the price. The rest of it
Yeah.
would be, you're guaranteed to have the building with a clause that if we can't, you can put an arbitration clause, that we have to go to arbitration so that you're at the same rate until we can come to an agreement.
Yep.
Do I have a motion for that? If that's what you would
I'll make
suggest.
a motion to have the indefinite lease with renegotiating the lease every 3 years,
The price,
price every 3 years.
is there a
Did you say
second?
indefinite? Did you say indefinite?
Indefinite,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Moved by John, seconded by Nicole. Is there any other discussion on it? That we have a continuous lease and then just negotiate on the rental price every 3 years.
What do you want, how long do you guys, you said you're putting all this investment into it. So what do they want for a long term? Do they want 10 years?
We were just looking, like a 15 to 20, but we'll take indefinite.
Well, that's where I'm questioning. I don't know if I wanna go that far, so. I'd rather see 15 myself, because we don't know what's gonna happen. That's already a money pit over there. So. you
We
know,
could also
we're-
add in that they have the first right to purchase if they can find a way or
We can't own property.
the state of North Dakota can purchase.
Maybe you wanna buy it for $1 and then you can take your.
Yeah, I can see where Paul's coming from on that one, but I also see too, like, it's a necessity for us to have the daycare, but I think they've really made a good progress on updating things as they go too, which is putting in the grants that they're supplying, so.
Yep, all the classrooms have been, in the last 2 years, have been all painted. We painted the hallways, new carpet, new tile, keeping up on the kitchen, making small improvements, but not going big improvement. The playground will be huge because there is no playground on the 29 corridor that is an all-inclusive, any child of any need will be able to play on it. So,
Where's this going?
But with that being said, Bambi, you're definitely there too with it to make these upgrades and changes.
Where's the playground going?
The current playground's being taken out and the new one's being put in.
So in the same footage.
Yep. It was supposed to already have happened, but some of the items got delayed, so now they're gonna do it in the spring, because we're getting too close to winter.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it'll be the first of its kind. I mean, the school doesn't even have this kind of a playground. So, our playgrounds are used by the kids all the time, which they're welcome to, nothing's locked up. So, it's just one of those where we're making some pretty big investments inside and outside, so we were kind of hoping the city would invest in us a little bit.
Is there any other discussion?
Just that I wouldn't go, I'd go 15 years.
Feel better with 15, Paul?
Mm-hmm. I don't even feel better with that, but I'll go with that.
We,
You wanna amend that motion?
And there's, if if the building gets, where it's too spendy that we don't wanna keep it, we have a way out yet?
That would be in there, that if the,
As long as we have a way out, I'm comfortable.
there's always a way out in
If,
the
if stuff
contract.
really changes that we can't control.
Correct. The point of it is that the reason I say this is that this is a way of saying, yes, we need Mayville Estate's been with us for
30 years.
30 years. Let's keep it for the next 99 years. We need them.
I
as-
will not be there for all of that, but I'll maybe give you 10 more.
I don't think we will either, but.
That's my
I've
point
already
behind it,
done
but there's
20,
a-
I don't know if I have 30 in me.
the way JR can write it, and he's legal, I know it's possible that there's ways for each party to give, but now, because we currently have that in the contract now, so.
So amend it, or make a motion to review the lease every 3 years. For
The dollar amount, every 3 years.
dollar amount for every 3 years for 15 years with the city and/or MSU having the opportunity with an early release if needed.
So that you're amending it to changing indefinite to 15?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Paul, moved by Nicole to amend the motion, changing indefinitely to 15. Is there any discussion? John?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Yes for me. Motion carries.
Just that 15 is steady.
Is there a motion, the current motion reads that we would offer a 15-year lease with renegotiating the price every 3 years. Is there any discussion on the amended motion? Paul?
Just got a question.
Yes,
Is this 15 years in 2026?
correct.
What was that?
15 from 2026.
Okay, perfect.
Will give us time to get it ready, which we can sign at any time.
Don't have to work overtime.
Well, considering that the campus is in complete disarray with Old Main being torn out, it may take the lawyers that long to get to it.
But we can sign it before, but it would start
On
in
26.
26.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Paul?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Yes.
Nicole? John?
Yes.
And a yes for me. Motion carried.
Thanks. We just want to reiterate that, we want to be really good neighbors and help. So, I know we had the discussion about the cleaning and getting things ready, but I do try to, make sure the bathrooms are good and extra stocked and things are presentable. And as I quoted Abby, be their cruise director. But you guys will be back to work in 2 weeks on Friday, so that shouldn't be so bad anymore. But, we want to be as helpful as we can and work with you guys and assist with whatever to be, even though we're not the owners of the building, but still be helpful with all the people that are coming in and out, and just to be that good neighbor and work with you guys on everything.
Thank you, Bambi.
Appreciate it.
Next item is tap that special event permit for the Armory Dance on, I can't remember the date. Must be one of the weddings. I can't remember the date.
September 7th.
There you go.
I'm assuming that's the
September 7th? Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the special event permit for Tap That, September 7th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved by Paul, seconded by Jason. Any other discussion? John?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Any yes for me? Motion carries. We have the gaming permit for the Hillsborough Medical Auxiliary. I have a motion to approve gaming permit.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Probably moved and seconded for a raffle permit. Moved by Paul, seconded by John. Any other discussion? Paul?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Any yes for me? Motion carries. Is there anyone Are any commissioners that would like to address the commission?
I'd like to have a little clarification. When we hired Colton for the city public works, is he actually public works or is he electrician? We've never gotten a real definitive answer here. And it's kind of been a little bit of an issue for me and Roy to figure out where we're supposed to delegate him. Is he city works or is he electric?
He's public works with an electric position.
So is he,
His primary is public works,
okay.
but, and
So
secondary.
as long
is
as I
ele-
need work, he does
Right.
Right.
on the public works end.
Yep.
Okay. We just were confused.
Mhm.
We didn't know where we were supposed to go with
Wasn't
this.
there a percentage we had on that? That he was paying?
Well, here's my problem, if we have a percentage on that, we have Brian, that's supposed to be our second electric guy, that's supposed to be getting his apprentice hours. He's losing out on the hours that he's getting if we're giving it to this other guy.
So that isn't correct, because.
It is correct.
No, they both get hours, is my
Brian
understanding.
is not getting the same amount of hours he's getting Levi if the other gentleman is getting hours as well.
If you look at when you look into it, and Casey clarified it with me too, is that there is no licensure for electrical linemen. It's basically through the businesses, and they look at it based on the hours working for a business. So they're both working for the city of Hillsborough, which is an electrical lineman, which is an electrical power company,
Completely correct. I think he has to be working under electrician,
but he has to be working,
not paid by work on and signed off, is what we were told by the other guys that run the schooling and stuff.
maybe for the schooling hours, but
It sounded like any apprentice has to work underneath, is what we were understood.
and see, that's not what
Otherwise,
we were
him
told.
shoveling or running the street sweeper wouldn't,
Yeah,
that's
how's-
not giving him an electrical experience,
Yeah, that's
but.
not giving them electric experience according to them. I mean, that's where we're trying to clarify, because he's not getting the hours he's gonna get.
My opinion, he was hired to work under the public streets department at
Then
$19
why is he
an hour.
making the wage of a journeyman or a lineman apprentice if he's public works?
Good question.
But yes, he was hired as Public Works primary,
So I have.
yes, and if
rain
he,
all the time.
and if Roy needs help, then that's where he was supposed to fill in as needed.
Then Roy would talk to you and see if you can free him up.
And we've been pretty open to each other.
Yep.
Which is fine, but he also didn't know what he was stepping on my toes, or about stepping on his toes, and we don't get that feeling among each other. We're very open together, but we just never had a clarification from anyone, truly what the answer is there.
Okay. Anything else from commission or from citizen addressing the commission? Yes.
This is on my own. Please don't let it reflect back on Jay. I guess my question is if he is Public Works and you did assign him $33 an hour at one of the last commission meetings, you said he was hired for that. How do you justify that when you have other Public Works that don't make anywhere near $33 an hour? If you're looking at your budgets and wondering where money is going out the window, I mean, it'd be like if you had the schooling to be a professor at a college, but you didn't want to be a professor at a college, so you went to a high school. You're not going to get professor pay, so if he was hired for Public Works, he shouldn't be getting lineman's pay. I guess that's just how I see it.
I agree with you 100%. I also don't believe that an employee underneath him should ever make more than the supervisor, or I should never make more than my sheriff, that would never fly.
Or more than what other people that work there, like, are making. He's making more than any of the other public works employees. Besides, our lineman makes, of course, you know, our certified lineman makes more, but he makes more than every single other public works employee, whether they're water, roads, whatever. It doesn't make sense to me.
I agree, and I think that is a question for the commissioners that were at the meeting when they hired him, because I was not there.
So one item that was brought up that I remember is when they're working on the electrical stuff, we need to have 2 people. So we wanted to have 3 in case one was gone.
We're only required one.
Yeah, but what he's saying is that one was gone, so.
Still, you only required one. Jake could go help out if that guy needed help.
Absolutely. That's totally legal. And if you wanted OSHA to be a little bit on board with it, because they can get a little funny, you can each of us go to a class in a 1-day class for bucket training, safety bucket training, and then you will never have any issue with OSHA on that after that.
We would have to rewrite the handbook first.
I'm not
Change that,
optimistic
so,
on that.
you know, so.
I would never.
But I'm just saying, that's, because that's why that's where the price come from, is because the way the handbook was wrote, so.
Well, my question.
And I don't have a problem with changing the handbook, I've not really been on board with that either, so, you know, so, but that's a subject for a different time, obviously, so.
My question to the other commissioners would be is what was your understanding in the meeting when you hired that person? Were you aware that he was gonna get a bump up to whatever he's at now? What is he even at?
We were aware that he was gonna get lineman pay.
So you were aware that he was gonna get paid more to be a city works employee than our city works current employees were and supervisors?
Yes.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
That's why we gotta look at our hand. Because we can't pick and choose, I'm assuming. I would like to, but we can't pick and choose what we wanna take out of the handbook.
Well, you have to change, we should change the handbook.
Right, right, that's my
Yep.
point.
But
so.
otherwise,
Mhm.
it's hard for us to go against our own policy.
Right, right.
Anything else?
What do you mean go against your own policy? You mean if he was hired mainly for public works, the public works states in there that it's $17 to $35 an hour, and $35 an hour is like your high-paid person like Jim was paid. So now you're paying a kid that has had no experience with public works $33 an hour, and yet you still have people that have been on your payroll that are making less than that. So in your handbook, it states that if the city commission is gonna up the wage in one division, they've gotta up it for everyone.
But the other point of that is that he was hired at $18 an hour base, and the other part of the handbook says, if you have this certification, electrical apprentice, it's a $20 increase. Just like when we
Okay,
have,
but-
we have others that go get their water certification or other things. So what the commissioners, what I'm hearing is they want to get rid of all of that. So meaning if we sent somebody to go get a water certification, they wouldn't necessarily get a certain pay increase.
I guess if you had requested if the city commission requested that somebody went to go get that stuff, then yeah, they should still get the increase. But what I'm saying is, just because you're it's like I said, just because you'd be qualified as a professor and decide to go work in a different position doesn't mean you're gonna get professor pay. It does not make sense. How do you think your morale will be when because all of the city workers, it's public jobs, so everybody knows everybody's pay. How do you think morale is when somebody comes in and does that. How would you feel, Levi, if somebody came in and was student teaching underneath you, and then you found out he was making $10 more an hour than you?
It's happened.
And
Really?
it sucks.
It
Why would
has.
you allow it to continue to happen when you guys are in control of this? Not to mention when you have a budget that I keep hearing that your budget is tight.
Right?
What are you
We're in a
doing?
hole.
What is the commission doing? Just because somebody's qualified for something, they're not performing that position at least 85 to 90% of the time, then they should be getting that position paid.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but, you know, we gotta do what the handbook says.
But my question is then, shouldn't we have taken a look at that if we were thinking about bringing him in as a lineman and realize that he was gonna get that automatic bump and what it was gonna cause to the rest of the employees that are now not making near what he was? I mean, I wasn't there, I don't know. Was that in the discussion even?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and everybody was okay with that? Saying, hey, we're gonna bring him in for this?
Can I ask you, commissioners, why were you okay with hiring a third lineman?
I was under the impression we needed a third.
Same here.
Well,
So,
the
now that you've heard through OSHA standards that you only need 2 linemen, how are you feeling about this as commissioners?
Obviously not great.
And who told you that you needed a third lineman?
I'd have to go back and look, I don't recall exactly, but.
I guess I was under the
You know?
impression, I was under the
Do you know the
impression.
answer?
I believe it was stated at a previous city commission meeting that Levi Reese was the one that said a third lineman was required. And unfortunately, everybody took that word.
I guess I don't know the rules for sure, but I was always under the impression that you had to have, you wanted 2 people when you're working on a job. That's what the impression I was under, so I guess if I'm wrong, I'm
It's
wrong.
like the Barnesville guys, there's only 2 guys and they're doing like 10 towns.
So my question goes back to, why did we need to rush this special meeting when we could have taken care of it in no time? Because I've also heard a rumor that he was already offered a position before he, before that meeting took place.
He was offered a position based on contingent that it was commission approved.
Who's making that decision without the rest of the commission? Exactly.
What do you want, Jason?
That's why we're in this.
What do you want me to do?
Stay in your lane. I'm sorry. I'm saying this as just a citizen in town. You have overstepped your boundaries on every aspect. You put your fingers in everybody's pie when you ask people what they need and you just go do what you want. And you're costing the city money in a wage of a person that isn't even doing the job. And I just, as a taxpayer, I'm just sitting here going, I'm just shaking my head going,
Wendy, would you like this job?
no, I
Are you
don't want
offering
it,
to step
Levi,
down?
but you have to be more transparent with your city commission, with your other fellow city commissioners. They were under the assumption that that position was needed. How were they under it? Because of you.
And that was under my assumption, what I learned and what I tried to figure out. I'm sorry, Wendy, that I am doing a horrible job in your opinion.
Levi, don't make yourself a victim here. I can Google it right now and I can show you OSHA wages or their specifications. I have it screenshotted right here. Okay, so don't say you did it because on the best of your knowledge. If I can find it on the internet, anybody can.
The other thing that you should probably take into consideration is how long was the position open? And I had asked Public Works and our office to try to find somebody. They went, they looked, we waited, we waited, we waited. There was nobody. I also heard from Public Works that they needed an employee. They really needed more help.
But they didn't need a lineman.
That's who we got that applied. I made best decisions. I put it out there for the rest of the commission. I am one vote. So don't put this all on me, that it's just my
But it
fault.
kind of sounds like your fellow commissioners, their votes were because of what you had suggested. They took you for your word, and I guess, unfortunately, maybe you guys need to do a little bit more research before you take him for his word. Now you have a pickle. I mean, you really do. I mean, you're overpaying a guy to sit in a street sweeper.
Thought all the staff were to live in Hillsborough, and I hear this gentleman is not.
I've also heard that.
Wasn't that part of the requirement? I didn't know that he doesn't even live in North Dakota, I don't think. So what do we do about on-call?
I don't know where he lives, I've never asked.
I heard Halsted,
He's in Holston.
where he moved to.
Is he planning on moving to Hillsborough?
In that same aspect, Roy doesn't live in Hillsborough, so are we gonna,
Yeah, but Roy's looking to move in Hillsborough, isn't he?
and
Roy is
Yeah.
working on it right now to
Yeah.
be in Hillsborough. That was his, he was, to be hired, he said he had to be in Hillsborough, so he's making it right.
And that's the difference, is he's looking, the other guy doesn't sound like he's looking.
correct. We also had a previous employee that didn't live in Hillsborough.
I just know in the interview that we had with the Public Works, that question was asked, do I have to be here? And the answer was, you have to be, if you're on call, you have to find a place to stay in Hillsborough for a week. And I feel like this is a conundrum, because then the Public Works people that are here, are they gonna have to pick up for that on-call? Or have these other employees been told they need to be here during those on-call times? And that I didn't know, and that is on me. I didn't know that they didn't live in Hillsborough.
Plus, if we have an on-call time and say, I think, wasn't it pointed out, is it 30 minutes?
I don't know what the
Thought-
call time is.
There's no way you're making it from Halsted to Hillsborough in 30 minutes in a snowstorm.
Right.
If you're even making it. That road's terrible in the winter.
Snowmobile.
Go and pick them up with the rain.
That is absolutely terrible.
Okay, is there anything else? We had one last item that came on the agenda, that came in last minute, and that is from Mac Properties. I don't know that we have to have them on, because there's a big, long thing. So, unless they have questions. Mac Properties is, or Mac Capital is putting in 5 homes that they're looking at putting in. And they're asking for us, if those homes do not get bought, then they're planning to change them to rentals. And so they're requesting for a 5-year TIF and a 5-year pilot, is what they're requesting, if it is a rental property.
So, is this going to be something advertised, prior? Because I mean, that's a lot of homes, that could sit out there. And I don't, my fear is that even if they, change them to rentals, it's how long do these houses sit? Is there a way we can, are they gonna advertise to see if they can be actually sold before they're built?
I believe that's the goal, correct, Paul?
You're working with,
I don't-
HEDC?
Well, I don't really know the final deal here on this, I'm sorry. I know Jim has been texting me about stuff, but,
my assumption is that it would be advertised, but, my fear is that 5 homes is a lot of homes to go over there, and if they just sit there for a while,
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
So it has to be considered a blighted area if it was agricultural in the last 10 years, which Riverwalk is. It's within the last 10, TIF just doesn't work. So we move over the pilot, same idea, any payment from taxes, traditionally we've done $1 before, such as the Jordan, has to be a revenue producing enterprise, so we'd approve it, that they would actually be built as rentals, and they may sell them in the meantime, so I phrase it, just so we can make it work. There is a notice that they have to hold, we have to have a hearing here to have it approved, and we're gonna do it at Jordan. So really just the idea is we want to move forward with that process, so we can get the public feedback, see what the public sits with this, and have that hearing, see yes or no.
Oh, if that's,
Yeah,
okay.
so we don't have to say yes today, the idea is should we report this, publish that notice, notice to competitors, notice to the public, and then really have a discussion on it. If it's
Okay.
over 5 years, which it seems to be they're asking for 10 total, we have to also notify the school and the county, and then they have a right to opt in or opt out. So there's a process, is what I say,
So, but you said there can't be a TIF?
no TIF.
So-
TIF is only for blighted areas, which
Okay.
this does not qualify.
Is this one, okay, so to officially request the TIF and the 5-year pilot, so we can't do the TIF,
No TIF right after that.
okay?
We'll let you know.
And then,
So they have 10 lots listed, are they doing these as twin homes or what?
Whatever it says here, I just read this just as you did.
Okay,
But it looks like it's gonna be 5 houses on 2 of our 10 lots.
10 lots.
So I'm assuming, I don't know, nobody knows.
so if we take, if they can't do the TIF, we do the 5-year, this changes to 5 instead of the 10, right? So we have a-
Those are the purchase prices.
Oh,
Those
those
individual
are the-
lots. Those are the lot prices, it looks like.
Oh, 10, what was it, 2?
I bet because they're 50-foot lots, so that's why.
The lots must be building for 100-foot flood.
So they're building one house on 2 lots? Ah, okay.
That's my guess, but I don't do good.
Because they have different addresses here.
Yep, and I think those are the addresses for those individual lots. What I would note though is, I would still, if we want to move forward with this, and that's the idea, we have to hold a hearing, then we can still
We
talk,
just have
then
to-
we can decide what we do, we have to talk to the city, or the county.
No.
We have to talk to the school. If they do sell, the pilot automatically disappears. Because the pilot can only be for revenue producing enterprise, AKA rentals. It doesn't work for me owning a home. It's shocking. So,
So what we'd need tonight is permission to move forward with the pilot. Wouldn't mean, because there is publication deadlines and all this, so it's a long process that probably won't happen until November by the time we're done.
yeah, publish those, all goes through, yes.
So all we need to do is just move forward on it, which in the past, the commission has always, if we can offer it, we will move forward on it. It's the same thing we did with the rental properties over at Jordan. We gave them this, if any of them sold, which I don't think any of them did, then,
Are they, so they're, I guess I don't know if they were at the meeting or whatever, they're aware that the 5-year pilot is only good for the rentals?
yes.
I think so, but I can kindly tell them. So, it doesn't work for a sale, and I'd also know, I'm guessing they're gonna use a sale window as in they build them. I don't know when they're gonna break ground, I'm assuming next year. They don't sell by winter, I assume they sell, or they're gonna rent them.
Because part of this is HEDC, if it doesn't sell, then they get a $20,000 developer fee for each one.
Okay, so just so I understand this, so 5-year pilot is in their rentals. They,
Or 10-year pilot, I'm assuming they'd ask for a 10-year pilot.
okay, and then, but if they sell them, there's no pilot that can be granted either.
Yep, it disappears because it only works for the applicant as,
Okay.
them as the applicant and as the owner. The second we sell them, it is automatically moved.
But then they can get, the new owner can get a 3-year on a 150 or 2-year.
150,000, 2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah. But different tax exemption, but not a full tax exemption.
Sure.
That all makes sense?
I think so. This is my
Clear as mud.
first time with TIFs and pilots and,
Yeah.
okay.
The main idea today is just you want to move forward with entertaining the idea. If your heart said no, we don't have to, but we're entertaining the idea to get that public feedback, then we just move forward with publication, learning the school and the systems, making sure this is what Mac wants to, after I explain it to him, and then we hold hearings.
And that's just like a public hearing, kind of like what happens, like the development to begin with on the other side anyway.
This would be anyone should come and say, anyone in the crowd to say, I'm against this, I'm for this, whatever you have. And then it's eventually.
I'll make a motion to move forward.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? It's been probably moved, seconded by Jason. Moved by Jason, seconded by Paul. Any other discussion? Paul?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Any yes for me? Motion carries. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
Did we want to, or were we gonna put that off until next meeting to look at raising the deposit for the cleaning? Or were we gonna wait until?
I think we
He's
need to
gonna
figure
work up a
out,
contract.
we gotta figure out, you guys want cleaning costs, and so we gotta figure out what we can put it
Okay.
at. Anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Before you put that, will you send that that you got with-
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion is adjourned. Our meeting is adjourned.